When people imagine the British takeover of the Caribbean, they often picture powerful fleets and plantation wealth. But behind Britain's expansion lay another, quieter strategy. One built not only on force, but on timing, rivalry, and division. This is the story of how Britain used European wars, diplomacy, and local fractures to secure control of the Caribbean. In the 16th and early 17th centuries, Britain was not the dominant power in the Caribbean. Spain arrived first, claiming vast territories across the region. France and the Netherlands followed, carving out islands and trading posts of their own. The Caribbean was not a unified space. It was a mosaic of rival empires, contested islands, and fragile colonies, many lightly defended, isolated, and dependent on support from Europe. This instability created opportunity, and Britain learned how to exploit it. For Britain, European wars were not distractions from empire. They were gateways to expansion. Nearly every major British acquisition in the Caribbean occurred during a European conflict. Wars with Spain, wars with France, wars involving shifting alliances across the continent. When European powers went to war, Caribbean colonies became vulnerable. Supplies were cut, reinforcements delayed, local defenses weakened. Britain did not need to conquer the Caribbean all at once. It waited, and when rivals were distracted, Britain moved. British forces often targeted enemy islands during wartime, knowing that their defenders were overstretched. Islands such as Jamaica, Grenada, St. Lucia Tobago were seized during conflicts rather than peacetime. Once captured, these islands were rarely returned, especially if they proved economically valuable. Britain understood a key truth. Colonies lost during war were bargaining chips during peace negotiations. Military occupation did not always need to be permanent. Legal ownership could be secured later. The real transformation of the Caribbean often occurred not on battlefields, but at negotiating tables. Treaties such as the Treaty of Utrecht in 1713, the Treaty of Paris in 1763, redrew colonial boundaries across the Atlantic. Britain used its wartime gains as leverage. In exchange for returning some territories, it demanded control of strategically valuable islands. Entire populations woke up to find they now belonged to a different empire, without a single new shot fired. Britain rarely fought all its rivals at once. When France was the enemy, Britain tolerated Spanish possessions. When Spain became the enemy, Britain focused elsewhere. This selective pressure allowed Britain to concentrate naval power where it mattered, avoid overextension, exploit rivalries between continental powers. The Caribbean became a chessboard, not a battlefield of constant conquest. Britain did not need to dominate everywhere, only where it counted. Not all expansion was carried out by official forces. Britain relied heavily on privateers, private shipowners licensed to attack enemy vessels and colonies during wartime. Privateers harassed Spanish shipping, raided poorly defended ports, disrupted rival economies. These actions weakened enemy colonies without formal declarations of conquest. When privateers succeeded, Britain benefited. When they failed, the government denied responsibility. It was expansion with plausible deniability. European settlers in the Caribbean were often pragmatic, not loyal. Planters, merchants, and colonial administrators cared about trade, access, protection, stability. When British rule offered better naval protection or commercial opportunity, loyalties shifted. In some cases, local elites cooperated with British authorities after conquest, helping maintain order and production. Empire was not only imposed from above, it was sometimes accepted from below. Once Britain acquired islands through war or treaty, it rarely gave them up. The reasons were practical: strategic naval positioning, control of shipping routes, economic integration into British trade networks. Each new island strengthened Britain's position relative to its rivals. Expansion became cumulative. Earlier gains made future gains easier. Britain did not conquer the Caribbean through one decisive campaign. It expanded through waiting for wars, exploiting rival weaknesses, negotiating from positions of strength, using unofficial force when convenient. This strategy required patience, coordination, and a willingness to let others fight first. In the end, Britain did not dominate the Caribbean because it was always the strongest power. It dominated because it understood when and how to move. The British Caribbean Empire was not built in a single moment. It emerged piece by piece, shaped by war, diplomacy, and division. It is a reminder that empires are not only forged by force, but by timing, opportunity, and the ability to exploit a fractured world.